My name is Justin Meunier. I own Boardwalk Numismatics. We deal in world numismatics A to Z. We're at the fun show at table 359, and it's been fun so far.
Yeah, what is something you look forward to when you come to the fun show?
So one of the biggest things is getting to see our clients, meeting them in person. We sell a lot of our stuff online, we sell a lot of stuff at shows, but there's a big difference in being able to, have a conversation with somebody that you've never met before. Being able to sit down and look at coins in person. That's always like much cooler than, just send an email back and forth and just like looking at stuff online.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
How long have you guys been coming to the fun show?
I think the first fun show I did was 2016, so I went in this full time in 2014.
Okay.
But the first one we set up, I think, was 2016, and we generally will do the winter and the summer shows.
Gotcha. Are there any big changes that you've noticed since like the first time you started coming here?
I mean, the entire numismatic market changed during COVID. A lot of people that had gotten away from the hobby went back into the hobby, and so that was the biggest change. Is that it brought in a lot of people who had been away for a while, and it also brought in a lot of very, very sharp younger people. That has definitely been the biggest change in the last few years.
Gotcha. You're working in a lot of world numismatics. Could we talk about maybe a little bit of what you have here on the table, and maybe you could pull out like one or two of your favorite pieces?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we fly down to a show, we're very limited with what we can bring.
Right.
So, like, if you look on our website, we'll have like 9,000 coins listed. When we fly down to a show, we can kind of only bring a little bit of a selection. So we
Right.
probably only have like 1,000 coins or so. But yeah, for the coolest stuff in our inventory right now, and that's always a tough question. Yeah. So this is actually a really cool piece. So I'm a big time history buff. I love anything related to history, world history, European history, and especially the history of our own country too. And one of the areas where you can kind of get all of that is some of the British coins from the 1600s. And so this is an Oliver Cromwell crown.
Wow.
So
That's sick.
yeah, that's not something you see too often. It's actually the first one I've owned. But one of the coolest things about them is after the restoration of the monarchy, you could be in a lot of trouble for having something like this. So lots of these didn't survive. And Oliver Cromwell was a traitor to the crown.
Right.
So even if you were a supporter of Cromwell, you didn't want anybody to know that. So that I think might be the coolest thing that we have in inventory right now. But I mean, we carry all kinds of stuff from pretty much. We don't do too much with the ancients, but 1500 and on, we have lots of stuff in different price ranges. If you go to our website, we have stuff as cheap as like $4. To many times that price wise.
So I've heard that you're the skull token guy. Do you have any
Well,
skull tokens on hand today?
No, that stuff sells super quick.
Yeah, I bet.
So I know you guys have ended up with some of them. So
Yeah.
you guys might be the people to check out for those. With the skull tokens, so the market's changed on those. So when I first started traveling over to Europe to purchase material, those were actually very affordable. You could buy them for what sounds like an incredibly low price. And I've brought over several hundred of them. They're a super cool piece. There's several different types, the Liège tokens. But yeah, in the last few years, those have become super popular, kind of with just mostly for the design aspect of them. Skull and crossbones. It kind of, it has like a cross appeal to people that love like that type of macabre art, or people that want to make the pirate connection,
Yeah.
even though there's not any type of pirate connection with them.
Right. It's sort
But-
of there, though. It's sort of there.
The motif is there,
motif.
but the actual origin of those tokens, it actually has to do with the Huguenots, and the early yeah. So what it says in Latin is basically always remember death. That's a very vivid representation of it with
Yeah.
the skull and crossbones, because at the time not everybody could read, and most certainly not everybody could read Latin. So you might have the phrase in Latin, but the depiction of the skull and crossbones is a great reminder. And back then, people's lifespans were a lot shorter. There was a lot more death around. The percentage of children that would survive to adulthood was pretty low.
Yeah.
So you were always surrounded by death. And with any of the Christian religions, that's a very important aspect to it, is always remembering, death is closer than you think. And but those were actually communion tokens. So those would be issued to members of the church who had already, with the Huguenots, they would basically you'd already been vetted to receive communion, that your heart was in the, basically that you weren't in sin at that point. So pretty macabre,
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very cool piece of history.
Very collectible.
Very, very collectible now. They are one of the hotter items in numismatics, which is funny because they're super, super cool, but you have other tokens of that era that you can very easily scoop up for under $100.
Right.
Like there's another token from like the late 1500s, again really cool design and everything, but it doesn't have that particular niche marketability, I guess. But I mean, like there's one that we have in our inventory right now that's was issued to members of the of a wheelbarrow guild, like people that move stuff via wheelbarrow, and it was like a trade association, and
Like
from
sort of like an old school union.
exactly, yeah. There's all kinds of really cool stuff like that in numismatics, and it's one of those things that even if you think that you're not interested in coins and metals and exonumia and numismatics, if you have any type of interest in just about anything, there's something in numismatics that would appeal to you.
It's at the heart of everything, really. I mean,
Literally, like throw out something like
Elvis Presley.
there was coins from Liberia that were struck in the 1990s depicting Elvis Presley.
There we go.
And again, crazy story behind that stuff. So Liberian Civil War, bloody civil war in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Charles Taylor went to war with his people, and it was vicious, absolutely vicious war. But they were issuing tons and tons of coinage with like everything you can imagine. There's like a Nolan Ryan on there, all this like American history. There was all types of, literally they're issuing hundreds of coins of different designs every single year.
To like raise money.
That's exactly what it was for. So Charles Taylor was helping support his troops with all this foreign money that was coming in, because basically you could print whatever you wanted on their coinage and their stamps, because there's still stamps at that time that people cared about.
Right.
But you could literally do whatever you wanted, as long as you paid Charles Taylor's government. So yeah, literally whatever you're interested in, there's something in numismatics for you. So
Wise words. Thank
yeah,
you, Justin. I think that's
Isaac,
everything we need.
absolute pleasure to see you.